Hello. Oh, I guess I don't have a camera. I wonder what happened. Oh, there it goes. All right. I'm going to let y'all settle in. I'm going to let those come into the room who would like to come into the room. We are talking Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 10. As you guys know, with any live, I usually just allow people to come into the room. So the first 5 minutes are going to be allowing people to come into the room. Hello. Hi, Aspasia. You caught a live. I hope you watch Married at First Sight. Is my audio okay? Because I'm not using my fancy mic. So I just want to ensure that the audio is good. If you guys can hear me, let me know. If you want me to use my fancy mic, I'll use my fancy mic. I will. Just got to tell me. Say wah. It's not crisp. It's not clear. Okay, we need a crisp, clear wah. Okay, good. So going ahead and trickle in the room, you guys. Going ahead and trickle in the room. Recap will start in 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. La da dee, la dee da, 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 la da dee, la dee da. La 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 la. Do 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 do. Okay. How are you guys liking this wig? I'm loving it. It's real easy to put on. Yes, Mickey, I am back at work. Today is, will be day 4 out of a 5-day work week. So I'm slow on everything. If you guys have noticed, my 90-Day Fiance video is not up. It's filmed. It's being edited. But it's a slow process now because I just don't have all of the days to languidly do what I need to do to get it out, you know? So, whew. I am also going to be starting a weekly show with Chris. And I'm excited about it. I need to get somebody to create the logo for it. And I guess I could do it myself. No, I always am like, I could do it myself. And then I think about actually having to sit down and do it. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound like a fun thing that I want to do. It sounds tedious for me. Yeah, so yesterday I got home and I hadn't watched Love After Locke, Married at First Sight. I hadn't watched it. I watched it yesterday. And then I was going to go do like a late night sneak attack, but then I was like, no. And then I said to myself, if I get up early enough on Friday, I'll do it. And so here I am. Everyone says go to Fiverr, but I do have a subscriber, Gabby, who is great. And so I'll see if it's within her wheelhouse to be able to do. She's a woman of color. So I just want to see, and she's a supporter of mine. So I want to see if she'll be able to take it on. It's a pretty quick turnaround. So I'm going to reach out to her. But yeah, I definitely will be looking for Fiverr as well to see if I can find somebody. I should reach out to her now and just be like, hey girl, hey, I have a request. If you can fit it into your schedule. Okay, 30 seconds, y'all, and we'll get started. Thank you for those of you joining me this very early morning on YouTube. No one's on Facebook. It's fine. I'm building up the Facebook community. So, or something. It's supposed to be building up, girl. I don't know. Maybe I should go to Facebook. Maybe I should actually go on Facebook and try. Oh, welcome. Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated. This is that early morning voice. Welcome to my recap of Married at First Sight. This is season 12, episode 10, Third Week's the Charm. And this was a good episode, as always. The episodes are never really bad. So let me bring up my notes. And I think the first couple that we're going to talk about is Eric and Virginia, because I feel as though Eric and Virginia, they had like a good breakthrough moment this episode. Not a breakthrough, but they started to get to the nitty gritty. As much as, you know, she's being portrayed as a drunk and he's being portrayed as like an uptight daddy. I think that at least the journey that they're on, as far as the stages that they go into, are pretty spot on. And so I'm just into it. You know, I'm into their journey. Not necessarily them as a couple, but I'm into the journey of what's happening. So in this episode, the first scene that I recorded, or I will put down in my notes, was Eric wanting to know if Virginia would be okay with them exchanging passwords to various social medias like banking, or no, she wanted to know that. Yeah. Was it she? I don't know, girl. Somebody brought it up. And he was like, well, banking? And I'm just like, well, here's the deal. No, you can't have my bank password. No. Like, yes, we're married, but I still don't know you, stranger. I don't know you, crazy. So no. You know, that was my thought when it came to that. And then I started to, then we see them talking about social medias and the fact that she texts guys and that he might not be comfortable with it. So we kind of go into that world again, where the world in which he is like, you can't have any guy friends. It's weird that you have guy friends. And she gets defensive and annoyed and upset. And I don't necessarily know that she's wrong for feeling that way. However, I feel that as someone who decided to join a Married at First Sight scenario, matchmaking, like get married on the spot scenario, I think the fact that she gets annoyed or mad about certain things so quickly is interesting. It's almost like she is automatically looking and waiting for things to not be right. And as we get further in their segment, we start to realize the whys. We start to realize the whys on both sides, which is great, which is something that I really loved. So they haven't really been having the hard conversations because they are in a good place when they're not arguing. And so they just don't want to invite that in. And I understand that, because I think they feel like they can tackle those problems after they say yes. So I just don't know. I don't quite know. I don't quite know where they're at. So then we have their next scene where we're with Dr. Viviana. And by the way, Dr. Viviana came into this episode, not only did she come in snatched, but like giving us very much body yaddy yaddy. And I loved her nude open toe pseudo platform pumps. Like I loved the thick heel. I loved it. It was just such a sexy shape. And so, you know, I'm giving that to her. To Dr. Viviana. So we have Dr. Viviana come in, and they both admit that they haven't had these hard conversations yet, and that they've kind of tried, but they realize that they are just so different. And so they don't want to broach it. And so it turns out that basically, you know, in a nutshell, Eric wants Republican children. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is a Republican's Republican. And, you know, I can see them being very much like Reagan's folk. I can see them very much being Bush Senior, Bush Junior type situation. I would hope that they wouldn't be Trumpers. But if they are, then they are racist. So, and so I was watching Eric because I'm like, here's what I think. And I'm going to talk about politics because this is my channel and I want to. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to be here. So I just want to preface that because people get upset when I talk about politics. So as a liberal, and I'm not saying that I'm like Democrat, I'm a Bernie bro or like whatever, but as a liberal, as somebody who feels socially people should be able to be who they want to be, and policy based on mostly religion shouldn't dictate everyone's life or how we manage, the less fortunate. So, there's a lot of hypocrisy on the Republican side for me, especially those who are deeply religious, who are choosing the Republican side simply because of the pro-life movement, simply because of LGBTQ stuff. And to me, if you are a Christian and you do follow the gospel of Jesus Christ, you should be so much more open and loving to the homeless and to the poor, because I literally think that is what Jesus's message was. But that's my interpretation of it. And so I find it very weird and hypocritical that sometimes Republican views can be not about the people and more so about the individual. Now, as an upstanding, responsible human being, I understand a lot of Republican policies. But as a human and a person living in the world looking left and right, I realize that not everybody has the same skill set as me. And so I understand that there needs to be more social issues that we deal with. And so Eric is talking about how she cares more about social stuff, but he's got his very strong, like serious rooted political ties that are different. And he's never going to see the things that she finds important. And that's when I come across a lot of my Republican friends. Those are the things that they tell me. I have two sets of Republican friends. I have the Republican friends who are Republican because their parents were Republican. And it's just, they feel like that's the party that is about personal responsibility. And then I have, people who are Republican because financially, fiscally, it makes sense for them, but they are more socially liberal. And so I just feel like Eric is that grassroots, like, if it doesn't affect me, it's not my business. And so I'm basically just going to go on what affects me. He's talking about being in the military. He's talking about that lineage. And so it was reading very red. There is no such thing as racism. You need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and work hard. And me, I don't have any advantages over you. Like, so what? You are the descendant of slavery. So what? My white supremacy gives me privilege. Or no, I don't even think my white supremacy gives me privilege. Like, he's that. And I think Virginia has a problem with it, especially because she says that her entire family, she's from that, but she's different. And I could definitely understand her at her age being very concerned about starting a life with a man who does not care, or seemingly from her perspective, from the liberal perspective, doesn't care about people who are not white cisgendered male or fall underneath that sort of umbrella. So, I can see her being frustrated about that. As at me, would I be able to marry or have kids with somebody that was like Eric? The truth is, yes. Because I'm like, we don't have to vote the same, but however, I'm going to teach my kids compassion. So when we do have those conversations where you plead your case, I'm going to say, well, here's why that is wrong. Or here's why that doesn't work for everyone. And it's because there is an uneven playing field. And when you pretend that there isn't an uneven playing field, then you're initially feeding into you're saying the uneven playing field is okay. So I'm going to stop there with my political rant, but I understand. That's just me. That's just me. And I understand Virginia and a lot of people like Virginia not being able to get down with what Eric is about. And for her, it's seemingly very hard. And I don't know how she's going to get through it. Now, let's move on to the part where they actually grow. They have this segment in the bed where they spend 5 minutes letting the other person talk without interrupting. He admits to her that he has been cheated on in every single relationship. And so that's why it's really hard for him to feel comfortable when she is around other men and she is like on social media liking pictures of exes and stuff like that. It makes him feel it makes him uncomfortable because he is insecure regarding that. And honestly, if that were me, I would be absolutely the same way as him. Like, unfortunately, if I had been cheated on a bunch, it would be really hard. He says that he trusts her, he just doesn't trust them. And I think that that was a weird statement to make, because honestly, if someone cheats on you, it's not the other person's fault. It's the person who's in the relationship. I don't believe personally in holding the other party accountable for messing with somebody who's in a relationship. It's that person that's in the relationship that's wholeheartedly accountable for their behavior. So that's good. I never had that tea. And so he is like, projecting onto her that kind of behavior from exes, which is unfortunate. Then she admits that because her parents' breakup and divorce was so nasty, and she was basically abandoned by her mother. And so a lot went down in her formative years. So she doesn't know if she has the tools and the skills to be a mother and to be a parent. She's deathly afraid of that. That's why having kids is 50-50. And that's why I thought she was 27. If she said she wasn't ready to have kids until she was 30, that's in 3 years. So I don't understand why Eric was stating that he's not going to wait 10 years to have kids. I'm like, she's not asking you to wait 10 years. Isn't she only asking you to wait 3? And I think that's so unfortunate that her parents put her through that. I think it's so unfortunate. And I also think it's unfortunate that her mother, she says, my mother moved away, so I went to go live with my aunt. And that's an interesting situation in which I know it happens, right? But I don't know that I would ever leave my child anywhere. Like, you can't, if I'm moving to Ohio, you are moving with me. The end. Like, and if you don't want to move with me, then you'll stay with your father. But even then, there is that idea of abandonment. And I wonder how old she was when her mother decided to move. If it was in high school or it was anything before 18, like, just, I don't agree with that. And I'm not saying that you are wrong if you've done that in your life. I'm just saying it's not something that I would personally do, because I think it can cause a lot of trauma, which we see with her. And she definitely feels abandoned by her mother. Even though, like her mother, she loves a purple eyeshadow. Let's get into Virginia's makeup. I'm over it. I have been waiting for it to get better, and I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if it's that she just needs to stop drinking so that her skin stops fighting her. I don't know what it is, but her eye makeup is too heavy for her little eyes. She needs to wear brown eyeliner, if anything. She needs to just give her eyelids a rest. They just feel heavy. And that's just from a makeup perspective. And I'm going to talk about everybody's makeup, so don't worry, I'm not just going in on her. It's unfortunate, it is an unfortunate situation that it just doesn't match her neck. And I want, is it CoverGirl? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? What is it? Because I think e.l.f. could do her better. I think a primer would help. I think it feels like I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there. Okay. So they left off, to me, from what I can last remember, a good point. At a good place. I honestly think, though, that she should make a decision on whether or not she wants to have kids. She needs to be in therapy ASAP and decide, because she can't be playing with Eric like that. I think kids are a deal breaker. Like, there's no wishy-washy. I don't know if I want to have kids. No, you need to know whether or not you want them. And if you don't know, then you need to be 21. But you can't be with somebody who definitely wants to have kids and then talk about your 50-50. How could you come on this show without knowing whether or not you wanted to have kids? So there's that. All right, let's move on to Vincent and Brianna. So Vincent and Brianna have their segment with Dr. Viviana, and I think Dr. Viviana pulls out something really interesting in him. He admits that he was wrong for his behavior the last 2 times he had tantrums. He says that he just wants to impress Brianna, and when he feels like he's not doing that, and he gets insecure, he takes it out on her. And I really do think that I like the fact that he's admitting to that. However, I can honestly say that as somebody who has been told that her natural self is wrong for most of her life, that it would be really hard for me to be with Vincent, because he honestly doesn't feel like he needs to tell her when he's upset her. And that's a problem for me. that was always a problem for me growing up. Like the reason why I never learned lessons, or the reason why I wasn't able to curb behavior, is because nobody would ever tell me what was wrong. They just got mad. And then when I, and I didn't have the verbiage, I'm, a kid. How do I know to say, tell me what I did wrong? I don't know. So I honestly feel like that makes me uncomfortable, and that makes me really, really sad for her, because I think that it sucks. It's the only terminology I can think to say. It sucks that Vincent honestly, truly feels like he shouldn't have to explain it to her, that he feels like that he holds back and he tries not to say anything rude to her, so she should do the same. But the thing is, though, not everybody's level of what's rude and what's not rude is the same. And so you have to set that boundary, and he doesn't want to have to do that. And so I would go inward as soon as he, inward meaning like INWARD, I would immediately sink inside of myself when I find that somebody's rejecting me for who I am, and for making like a funny comment, or what I thought was a funny comment, or taking you to salsa dance. Like this idea that she took me to something that I didn't know how to do. And it's like he tried to blame her a little bit. And then Dr. Viviana didn't let him blame her. It's like, she took me to salsa, but I know how to dance other dances, so I'm not sure why she didn't take me to that. What? Why would I take you to something you already know how to do? Oh, it's because you always want me to shine. You always want me to let you shine, right? And so that's what his idea of support is to always let me shine. Never put me in a situation where I'm uncomfortable, because you're supposed to love me. And I just think that's weird, and that doesn't promote growth in any way, shape, or form. I hate this lighting. It's real early in the morning. And sometimes early morning lighting is deceiving, because the sun is full on shining and I have on lights, and you would think that I would be super lit. I mean, I am super lit, but not for reals though. So anyways, I kind of feel for Brianna because of that. It makes me mad that he is that way. And I don't know that, this one conversation with Dr. Viviana is going to fix it. And I think she's constantly going to have to check in with him, which at some point I can't check in with somebody all the time. He's like, well, I don't feel like, she needs to baby me. I'm not a 7-year-old. And I'm like, but you're acting like a 7-year-old, sir. You're acting like you don't, like a child, like a petulant child. Like, and that is what is annoying. So oh, here it is. What else did I write for them? Yeah, basically Dr. Viviana says that he doesn't have to impress her, that she's already impressed and she's already there. And she turns around and she's like, yeah, that she does that baby talk with him. And it just couldn't be me. It just couldn't be me. Like, I'm asking you to tell me how you feel and tell me what's rude and tell me, what works for you. And you're like, I shouldn't have to tell you. I feel like you're setting me up for disaster at that point. My internet is weird, so I'm not going to talk right now. I don't know why. Come on, internet. What's going on? Okay, there it goes. It's back to being good. Hi, I'm back. Hello. Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome to my channel. Like, okay. So I just feel, Georgiana says, I agree. I hate the idea that you have to hide yourself to not hurt the person. And he mentioned watching what he says. No one wants to walk on eggshells and to be hurtful like Chris, but honest and kind. Yeah, not to be hurtful like Chris. Yeah, it's the walking on eggshells for me that that I can't do. I can't do because I won't flourish in that environment. Okay, so, I didn't even show a picture of them. Well, you know what they look like right here. These people, this is who we were talking about just now. These folks. Okay, let's move on to the next couple that I want to talk about is Haley and Jacob. So I don't think these two are going to make it. I realize that they're almost halfway through, and Jake decides that he's going to put on a stupid stash. Like he's got this really bad mustache and only a mustache. And like, I think Jake just needs to stop fighting his beard, because like even in this picture, he's fully shaven, but we can see it underneath his skin. So like, just stop fighting it, bro. Just let it grow in. Like you're meant to be a hairy man. So just let it happen, because it just looks like a tug of war and you are losing. So Haley, they have their conversation with Dr. Viviana. They're sitting on polar opposite ends of the couch. The only thing that they really like between each other are their dogs. And Haley tells Dr. Viviana that she finds it unattractive how hard she's had to work. And I don't understand what that means. I don't know. What do you mean how hard you've had to work? Like, we've seen him working hard to get through to you and to like you and to support you and to be the person that you want, to make you comfortable. And all the clips that they showed us as examples were him saying like, I don't want to drink, and you being like, you're going to make me drink alone? My answer to that, if I were Jake, would be yes. Unfortunately, yes. And then the fact that she had to buy him shirts, like as though like, I don't quite understand what it is. I just don't understand what it is that's upsetting her so much. I'm at a loss because she can't name it. She says that she wasn't really attracted to him when she met him, when she first came down the aisle, but she thought, okay, I can still, do this. There can be some attraction. And then in the first 4 days, things were going well because she felt she was a wife and so she should have sex with him. So she tried to jump all in. And because she jumped all in, she freaked out and backed out when she realized that it's not something that she wanted, at the same time hurting his feelings, and then did a couple of things that, weren't really wifey stuff that I guess he felt, which is mainly hanging out with Paige, I suppose. And then, which is so interesting. I wish that they would like unpack like how the girls are supporting Paige. Like that should be like the behind the scenes. Like I want a behind the scenes web series only, how everybody is checking for Paige. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just am confused as to what it is that she's had to work hard to do so that she finds unattractive. Because I was thinking about it, and really the only thing that I think would cause me issue is if he smelled. Like we can work on your wardrobe. And I don't think his wardrobe was terrible. But if his mouth smelled or his body smelled, I wouldn't be able to move forward with that. And like, does it smell? I don't think it does. Okay, so that's it with them. Let's move on to Clara and Ryan. So let's just jump into the fact that Dr. Viviana said that he might be a virgin because he is waiting to build a foundation before they have sex. So they play this game where they talk about sex, and you can tell that Ryan is super uncomfortable. One of the questions is, what's your favorite sex position? And he just giggles and says, I don't know the regular way. And I thought to myself, wow, you can't even say doggy style? You can't even just say that, because isn't that everyone's favorite position? I'm just kidding. So she says, woo, girl, the story she tells that in her last relationship, she was not sexually desired. She was with a man for 3 years and they had sex 3 times a year. I would like to unpack. Let's unpack. Because I don't understand how you could stay in a relationship with someone for 3 years and only have sex less than once a quarter. She said it was hard to figure out how to pay her bills by herself. She said that a lot of it was I just am like, listen, I don't know what it's like to be in a relationship, but I want sex. I thought she was going to say 3 times a month, honestly. When she said 3 times a year, I said, so you've only had sex with that person for a total of 9 times? You didn't get that. So like, were you just like laying next to him using a vibrator? He didn't want to touch you? And she says that she doesn't want to make people feel bad. So she stayed in the relationship and it was a really hard breakup. And I was like, now, this is the question that I have. The fact is that Dr. Viviana wants to understand why Ryan doesn't want to have sex. It has been 24 days. How long is 24 days? Okay, let's look at a calendar. 24 days is 3.5 weeks. So the fact that they have been living together for the last 2 weeks and they spent a vacation together, that kind of gives you more time, right? So I would say that the time that they've spent together because they're living with each other has almost tripled the actual time, right? In emotional timelines, right? Because if I'm spending every day with somebody for a week, at the end of that week, you go to sleepaway camp or you go on vacation and you find somebody that is cool and you hang out with them. Like, when you don't have them, there's a void in your life. And so you do develop those feelings very fast, very quick. And so, yes, it's only technically been 3 weeks, but they have seen each other every single day for those 3.5 weeks. They've slept in the same bed every day for those 3.5 weeks. And they've done everything except for the do in those 3.5 weeks. So I would feel some kind of way. Now, if the role was reversed and she was the one who was uncomfortable to have sex and he was the one waiting patiently, I think that there would be a little bit more understanding for her, because there is this understanding that women don't have the same sexual drive as men or something, right? And so with waiting to have sex with a woman, but a woman shouldn't be okay to wait to have sex with a man, even though I agree. And if I were her, I couldn't make a decision. If they didn't have sex at least 3 times by the time it's decision day, I would not be able to say yes to this marriage, because I would really need to know that we were sexually compatible. And so he is talking about he needs to build a foundation. And have you noticed that he doesn't actually listen? That he's like, yep, sure, yeah, sure. And I'm just like, you're not listening. Stop saying that. So I just want to know, like, if the shoe were on the other foot, would everybody be thinking, oh, she's a virgin, or, oh, something's wrong with her? Why doesn't she want to have sex? And I know people are going to say, oh, it's because a man enters a woman, so it's a little bit more sacred, or, we try to think up reasons why a woman being prude or, not wanting to have sex is okay, but a man not wanting to is wrong. And I just don't know, because if we're moving forward in the way we as a society think about genders, we're thinking about it on a spectrum, right? And so it's not about a man and a woman behave differently. It's about how the person is. And so if Ryan is the way he is, and there are more men out there who are like that, who do want to wait. But the question is, I don't believe that his reasons for wanting to wait are valid. I think it's because someone hurt him. I think someone made him feel like his swerve wasn't all that, or that he maybe isn't into sex as much. Maybe he's, I'm not sure which one it is. Is it asexual or like something? There is a type of sexual drive where a person doesn't necessarily need sex in order to feel bonded with somebody. And that's fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a fair thing. They don't require sex at all in their life. I don't think it's asexual, but it's something. And so he would need to know that that is what he is in order for him to have properly set himself up in this show. right? And I think a lot of people don't know that that's what they're feeling. They think they should be. And since the logical out or the explanation that we have is that, oh, I'm conservative, or I'm really religious, or I think that, sex is fleeting. And so we need to really build a foundation because that's what's going to get us through the hard times or whatever. And I was like, so you think that you need to abstain with sex with her in the first however many weeks you're going to hold out in order to determine whether or not you guys have a strong foundation? I don't necessarily know that the two are mutually exclusive. Like, I think you can still have sex with somebody and give them the physical pleasure that they desire. And because honestly, here's the deal. If they weren't actually having intercourse, and she was still getting to a good place, maybe she wouldn't feel that way. I know I would feel a certain way regardless, but if I was getting to a good place, if he was putting in work, you know what I'm saying? If he was doing what he needed to do, then I think that I would be like, I'm okay not having intercourse yet, but that's the next level. And I need to know that the next level is good, because the truth is I don't care how much of a strong foundation we have. If in a year or so or whatever, you're not giving me some, like, I'm gonna have to find it somewhere else. And we're gonna have to have that conversation. So don't think that because you need to develop this foundation, that I need this foundation, and that foundation will hold me over if we're not having sex, because it won't. The only way that I think that I wouldn't be like, I'd be like, okay, not having sex, is if they physically repulsed me, but I liked everything about them. Then I would be like, but even then I would still be like, okay, but I need to go out and get mine. So I just don't get it. So another thing that she mentions, Clara, is that she doesn't equate sex with love or something. There was some kind of conversation with Dr. Viviana where she said that sex is just sex for her. And I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean that it's just a physical release? It's just like a physical thing, and it doesn't, like, if she has sex with somebody, like, that she doesn't necessarily fall in love, or like, sex and romance aren't the same thing for her, or like, she could have a series of one night stands and have them be good sexual experiences and walk away and just be like, fine. And if so, I don't think that necessarily means that she'll never find those two things to be compatible. I think that she just needs those two things. And I think she knows that she needs them because she was in a sexless relationship for so long. I wonder if she just went without sex, or maybe they had an understanding and she just went and got hers elsewhere. I don't know. It does mean that. It doesn't necessarily mean love to me, but I have a connection. It creates a connection, which is why I can't have one night stands. Also because, like, I don't want an STD. I don't want, like, if the first time with you, maybe even the 5th time with you, maybe even the 10th time with you, I most likely won't get to the climax because I'll be in my head. Like, I'm too wound up. And maybe if I took a Xanax, I think about in my younger years, if I had access to Xanax, maybe then I would have been able to get there. But it takes a lot. I have to, like, be calm and be fully comfortable and be able to tell you what I want and all those things. And that has taken a long time to get to that point. And, so I think, God bless her, the fact that she could just go in and, like, it doesn't matter. It's just a physical release for her and she can get hers regardless. So that, like, God bless. But for me, in order for me to get there, unless I've, had handled business prior to, and you're just the second course, you know what I'm saying? That's the only way I can get there. Otherwise, like, I won't be able to get there with you one-on-one. I've tried. I can't. I don't know what it is. It's a mystery that I need to unlock once I have a steady partner, because I've never really had a steady partner, someone who's, like, been there where I can just have access and, like, be able to talk through these things and let down, whatever. Then, like, yeah, like, I can't. In my younger years, Lindsay J, I have, and it still hasn't gotten me there. So it's not the same for me as it is for Clara. So I just find it interesting that she's worried that she's not going to get there with him. But I was like, I don't think it necessarily means the same, because you guys are already on 2 different paths. Like, he wants to build some kind of foundation before they have intercourse. And she's like, I just need the intercourse, and the foundation is already there, or it will come. And that won't mean that I won't be able to stand the test of time with you later on if we don't have that foundation right now. So interesting. So let's move on. He needs trust. Trust for what? What if he just has like a crazy O face? You know what I'm saying? And then like he's just like, I need to know that after you see my O face, you won't leave me. You won't get on your group chat and talk to your friends about me. I don't know. I can't imagine. She doesn't know if she will be able to give him what he wants with the emotional connection. So interesting. So interesting. And I just wish that Ryan would tell her what exactly it is, but he probably doesn't know, which means they need therapy. I think they need to see Dr. Viviana. I always say that, but whenever I find that someone can't communicate exactly what it is that they want, the reason why I say that they need therapy is because they need somebody to help them find the words. All right. So the last couple that we're going to talk about is our favorite, Paige and Chris. So this is hot off of the We Need to Reset. It's 2 days later. She has contacted Chris. He has not responded to her. So I guess that reset isn't happening. So she tells him, excuse me. Let me get this out. She tells him that Dr. Viviana is coming, and so she doesn't know if he's actually going to show up. He gets there in a Punky Brewster outfit that is too small on him, and she tells him that he looks good and cozy. And so we're just like, okay. And then he gets on the phone immediately. Like, as soon as they sit down, cameras are rolling, lights are on, producers are producing, and he just takes out his phone and starts to fiddle on his phone. He doesn't try to talk to her. He doesn't make small talk. He doesn't say, so how has your, week been? How have you been feeling? Nothing. He's just like, he doesn't even say, hey, did you see this on Instagram? Like, look at this video. Like, oh my God, did you see this? Like, nothing. He just gets on his phone, which is annoying. Then the doorbell rings and it's Dr. Viviana, and he's like, it's your place, yo. It's your place, yo. What's up, yo? And so she gets up to go answer the door. And Dr. Viviana comes in, and Paige ends up saying, God made me the kind of woman who is supposed to be supportive. And I was willing to support him in anything in those first couple of days, because as a wife, that's what I was made to do. And then Dr. Viviana calls out Chris and basically says, the person that we met is not the person that is here now. So what's going on? This is very shocking. And he says, well, the person I was during the interview process was Chris since 92. But the person that I was afterwards was very depressed and confused. So I'm sure that made Paige feel amazing. I'm sure she felt real good when he said that. And then, so she says that, we said we were going to reset, and he then, there's been no communication. I expect something. And Dr. Viviana tries to get him to say, what it is that he wants, what his expectations are. And so she then gets Paige to say that. Paige says, I want to talk or text once a day. And he says that he feels that feels like pressure, and he doesn't want to feel pressure to do anything. And so then she's like, okay, well, what would be okay with you? And he's like, well, we can go out and have dinner, and we can take walks, and we can do those things. And Paige is like, I don't want to do all that. I just want to talk to you. I want to be friends. And so there's that disconnect, because it's dumb that he's like, yeah, I want to, go on dinners with you, but I don't want to have to call you or text you once a day to see how you're doing, which is bananas. One thing I also just want to go back to Clara and Ryan. Dr. Viviana also tries to get Ryan to tell Clara when he's going to be ready for sex. And he is someone who is also not willing to give a percentage, not willing to give a time frame, nothing like that, which is frustrating, because we're adults. Give me a fucking time frame, because you have a time frame put on you. You have 8 weeks put on you. So if she doesn't get the things that she wants, I have hash browns. in the oven, and I can smell that. Someone check on the hash browns. Jesus, they've been in the oven for 45 minutes, and they're only supposed to be in there for 15 minutes. I hope somebody gets my text messages. Okay, so yeah, so I just am so confused about people not wanting to just, if they make a statement, just say, how am I going to feel by then? I get it if you don't want to put a title on it, but make something up, girl. Okay, so then he says that he's sad because he doesn't know what to do. So I'm just so confused. Oh my God, thank you for the super chat. Thank you. So then he ends up telling her that he wants to hang out with her, but that she needs to set up a Bible study. And that the reason why they probably haven't been doing well is because God hasn't been in their life. They haven't put God first in their relationship. And I'm like, well, you haven't had time to put God first in your relationship because we've had to put you first, Chris, and we've had to deal with your emotional toil and what's been going on with you. So we haven't had that opportunity. So now you want to pull out the God card. Okay, I see how that works. Interesting. And it's very frustrating that all of a sudden he puts it on her and then wants her to lead Bible study. And then he says he'll bring over some food. So they do like a whole calendar of things that he's willing to do when he's available so that they can set up time. And she's putting in this work to try to make this relationship work with him. And God bless, she's doing more than I would do. She's doing more than I would do because I wouldn't do any of that. So he ends up coming over and talking to her about, ends up coming over, bringing over chicken. They eat the chicken. She doesn't like to eat on camera, girl, because she's very much like very polite with that chicken eating. And he makes her pray over the food. He couldn't do it. Then she takes out her Bible and has him read a scripture, and he reads the scripture. And then this is where I feel like she might be kind of passive aggressive with like talking about like friendships and what the Bible says and like, about their relationship and about marriage. And it becomes very weird. And so she's taking notes, and he feels some kind of way that she's taking notes, and she's taking it serious. He said, let's have a Bible study. And so she's taking notes. And like, when I used to go to Bible studies, I would take notes too, because it helps you to retain the information. And like, if you want to look back on your notes to see like what that session was like, then So maybe you should take notes too, because it would help you. So then he then tells her that he bought his ex a brand new Benz. That's how he says it, brand new Benz. He doesn't say he bought her a car because she doesn't have one and, she's pregnant. A brand new Benz. And that just, because we're married, I thought I should tell you. But you didn't tell her beforehand? Okay. So you told her you bought Mercedes a brand new Benz, and Haley, what's her name? Paige is like, yeah, I get it. It makes sense that you wouldn't want her taking ride shares. But cool. And he's like, so I thought I should just tell you because I wanted you to know that, if I'm bringing a king or queen into this world, then they need to be riding in a chariot. And she's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have a. So is this what our marriage is going to be? Our marriage is going to be you putting Mercedes on a pedestal because she is carrying your child. So I'm on the back burner, and you don't even want to call me once a day. And you leave our spiritual life up to me, but you buy her a Benz. Do you and Mercedes have Bible study? I mean, she's literally in her first trimester. And you've bought her a brand new Benz. What are you going to buy her for her? Where are you going to send her for her baby moon? What are you, I mean, like, what are you going to do for her this entire pregnancy? What are you going to do for her the entire pregnancy that's going to put Paige on the back burner? It's bananas. At that point, she just needs to get out of this relationship. Because where does it go from here? He bought a girl who hasn't driven in the last 6 years a luxury car. He couldn't just buy her a Corolla? Is he paying for this? Is he a brand new Benz? Listen, this is what he said, guys. I'm not making this up. So is he going to pay her? I mean, is he just going to give her money monthly? Like, is he going to pay? Did he buy it cash? It's brand new, or is he just going to now, out of his paycheck, is going to be like a $600 car note every month for the next 5 years or whatever, how long it ever takes him to. I just don't understand. So at this point, you know what I'm saying? Like, Paige can do whatever she wants to do. Like, I can't talk about a Black woman. The only thing I want to say for her is that I just need her to get some powder and stop with the dewy finish. I want her to give us a little blush. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, her hair, she looked the best when she had it kind of back and a few tendrils. I'm over her just kind of looking wet and sad, you know? So that's it. I'm over it. So that is the end of this episode, you guys. I have to leave for work in 8 minutes. So I'm going to go do that. And you guys have a fantastic day and a fantastic week. And I hope the absolute best for your weekend. I'm going to get my ish together and get out the 90 Day Fiancé video probably on Saturday. And I'm going to be better next week. I sure am. Don't forget to check out me and Chris's live. We're going to go on Thursday nights to talk about whatever social media or, you know, pop culture commentary. We haven't decided the name yet. So down below, go ahead and drop some suggestions for the name of our show. I was thinking about Are You Into It with Chris and Wah. But everything you drop, I'm going to have to like Google it to see if somebody else is using it. But go ahead and drop it. I mean, help me out because I am at a loss for what the name of our pop culture weekly show should be. I think I want to make it a podcast. I would love for us to get sponsors. Like, I really want Chris and I's chemistry to be monetized. And I want to build an audience. And I'm going to start with you guys as that audience to build. All right, you guys, have a fantastic day. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye. Follow me on all my social medias, you guys. Just call me Wah and Wahima Lino on Clubhouse.